Hello students. Welcome to the part 2 of Introduction to Methods and Designing of our class. I'm Shwari Roy continuing the lecture. So we have used self variable, self word. This is not a keyword actually, this is just a word. We have used self word inside these methods, right? What if I don't want to use this self inside a method? Will it work? Yes, it will actually work. Self is not any keyword. This is just a word which will carry the address of your object. So instead of writing self, you can write anything just like this is a method, def speak, and inside the parameter, instead of writing self, I have written ss. You must write something inside the parameter to carry the address of your object, but this is not mandatory that you have to write self. Instead of self, you can write anything here. So then, if you want to access the attributes of your class, you can just write this is one is ss. So ss dot name, which actually carries the address of your object, and dot name is actually the attribute, instance attribute, and says is a string, and then sound is also a parameter. This is a variable. So instead of writing self, you can write anything here, but this is not convention. To follow the convention, just like instead of writing method name, you can write capital D here, but this is not pure convention. Okay, it will not give you any error, but good to follow the conventions. Okay, we have already learned that we, instead of writing self, we can write anything here, but we'll always follow the convention. So I'm not changing this value. So I want to show you something else now. Just like I have already shown you, changing this object doesn't affect the other object, right? What if I want to make the scene like this? If I change object 1, this object 2 will automatically change. How can I do that? So to do that, I can just write obj1 equal obj2. This actually means this actually means that the memory address of obj1 will be equal to the memory address of obj2. That means I'm sharing the memory with each other. Now, if I want to write obj2 dot id number equal 5, and then I print obj1 dot id number, can you guess what will happen? See, I have changed the ID number of obj2, which is actually 5. It was initially 1. It was initially 1, right? So, and after changing this ID number, this is actually now 5. But when I am printing obj1 dot ID number, I have changed obj2 dot ID number, but I am printing obj1 dot ID number and it's showing me 5. That means if I am changing the value of object 2, this also apply to object 1 after I make this equal. Before that, it was not like that, right? If I change object 1, only the object 1 was changed. So why it is happening? It's happening because I have shared memory. This is called reference sharing. If I have written like this, that obj1 dot id number equal obj2 dot id number, I am just sharing the value, not the memory address. Now, if I want to change obj2.id number equals 5 and print obj1.id number, it will show me the previous ID number that I have written here. So let's see. So the ID number of object 2 was 12, right? Because we have set the value here. So when I have written obj1.id number equal obj2.id number, it's replacing the object 1's ID number with object 2's ID number, which was 12. So this value is 12. And after that, if I changed obj2 dot ID number, it's not affecting obj1 because I have just shared value here, not the address. So this is actually address sharing, concept of address sharing and value sharing in in between objects. So now, importing class module, you can just instead of writing all the class in one file, you can write the design class in another file and then call this class with your with another file. So to do that, what you can do is make an empty file called init.py in the same directory as the other files that will signify to Python that it's okay to improve from the directory. After that, in the main file where you want to import the other classes, you just need to write import user, import dir. Here, the user and dir is actually the file name of your class file. So you can just import these things and then you just use these files just like here user.user. I am creating an object one using this user file inside user class. So you can directly do that and it will uh, to see how it works you can see watch the supplementary videos for importing class. So now we'll try two scenario for creating a class file. So here they have said create a student class that will have, so I'm just making it to window. Here is the question. They have asked me to create a student class. So if I want to open a new file and I want to create a class, so class student, and then what they have said that will have university name and course as class variable. So I'm class variables means the variable that will be declared after the declaring the class, defining the class. So university name and another class is courses. So they have not mentioned what will be there as value. So initially I am writing here like this one, empty variable or something like that. So after that they have asked me to name id address as instance variable. Default value instance variable means I need to write a constructor and inside that I can take name id address as instance variable. So def init two underscore and like self inside this self method. So inside this constructor there will be name id and address. So after that, default value of university name is bracket. Name ID and address will be set in constructor. So default value of university name will be bracket. So instead of writing empty string, I can write bracket here. And name ID and address will be set inside the constructor. That means I need to take the values in parameter and then set these values in the instance variable. Okay, so name id and address will be sent with the parameter. So here so id name will be name, id will be id. So id may be a keyword, so I'm just writing id idn. So idn and address will be addr. So here you can, I have already set the values for name, ID and address. After that, they have said there will be an instance method course add. It will take course name as parameter and add the course in course attribute. So then I need to write a method called course add. So course add and inside the parameter I need to write self first and then course name as parameter, and it will add the course in course attribute. See, this is saying course will be added. That means this will be a list because I can call a method 100 times, right? So every time I call the method, it will add a course inside this courses attribute. So I just need to write, I can't write courses equal course name. I just need to write courses dot append so that if this one is a list, any value doesn't get lost. Okay, so courses will be, I hope you can see, courses will be course name. So instead of writing like string, I can just initialize it as a list. So here, instead of writing courses, I need to write self.courses because I am trying to access a attribute from this class. So after that, they have said there will be another method that will be course drop, which will delete the course mentioned in the parameter. So there will be another method called course drop. So def course drop, and here you will just write like this self, comma, course name, just like I have written here course name, and then it will delete the value from the courses list. Okay, so to drop the course, you just need to write self dot course dot remove courses. That means the list name and the course that you will give me in the parameter, and it will drop, at least it will delete the course from the list, which means it will drop the course. After that, they have asked me to write a display method that will show all the courses and the university name. So to do that, you just need to define another method called display. Inside the parameter, you don't need to write anything else rather than self. And inside that, you just need to print the university name. So self.university name, okay. Dot university name, and also print all the courses that they have taken. So to do that, you can just directly print list courses. Courses. It will show all the courses that you have taken. Oh, sorry. Instead of writing courses, you just need to write self dot courses. Okay. After that, they have said info method will return name, ID, and address of the student. So there will be method that will return something. So def info, and it will not take any parameter. It will just return name, ID, and address. So I can just write self dot name, comma self dot ID, comma self dot address. So let's now check whether it, so not so it actually running. So if I want to check whether my class is working perfectly or not, I need to create a object, right? So let's create a object called st1. So st1 equal student. Inside the parameter, I need to mention name, ID number, and address. So name can be like Rita, ID can be 1236, just like this one, and address can be Dhaka. So after that, I want to add some course. So what I can write is st1 dot course add. The method name is course add, and inside this one, I can just write the course name, which is taken as a parameter. So I'm writing CSE triple one. So after that, I want to take another course, and sorry, here you need to write this one just like a string. st1, then another course just like math 120. Then I need to use the course drop option. So to do that, again I need to write st1 dot course drop. Sorry, course drop method is written as just this one. And inside the parameter, I need to write the course name, which will be math 120. And then if I want to display what I have taken, so st1 dot display, right? So it will display that I want to. And then in info method, it's returning me something, right? So I need to store it or I need to print this. So to do that, I can just write print st1 dot info. So inside parameter, so see, it's showing me for the first display method, it's showing me first the Brackew University name and the course I have taken, CSE triple on, because I have already dropped Math 120, right? So before dropping this course, if I ask to display all the course that I have taken, I can just write here and then run the method. See, first it's showing me CSE triple on Math 120. After dropping Math 120, it's showing me only CSE triple on. And in the info method, it's printing with the ID and the address. I have worked for one course, right? Like I need to call this method one by one to add the courses in the courses list, right? So if I want to add more courses in one method, what you can do, you need to remember this star keyword. So you need to just write here star course name. What it actually means is this is a tuple. It will take as many parameters as you want to give, and then you, instead of writing this one, you can take a for loop just like so. You can so for instead of writing the course dot append course name, you can just use a for loop for I in course name self dot courses dot append I. I will refer to the first course, then the second course, and how many courses you will show. So this is how you can use this star keyword to take multiple parameters. So actually it works just like the functions that you have learned from the previous classes. You have learned how to use default value parameter, how to use star parameters, and how to use the list as a parameter and all. So the same thing you can also use there. Just write self first and then the other things you want to mention here. So if I want to show you another example, just like div display, you need, first I need to write the self comma varsity name, just like varsity equal bracket. So this is how I can also use default value parameter. How it will work, it will just like instead of writing pass, I'm trying to print varsity. So I'm writing this method as display2 and I'm calling display2 method from here. So here you can see that there is another parameter called varsity, but this is not mandatory to write the varsity value here because I have already given the default value in this parameter. So if I want to run this one, see, this is showing bracket that is already given here. So instead of, if I want to change the value of varsity, I can just write my value, just like if I want to write instead of bracket, I want to show this one, capital letter bracket. So run cell is showing me bracket. I hope this is clear for you. So you can write any function inside the class and it will be called as method because you are using a memory address of the object of this class. So Then I will go for the second scenario. In the scenario 2, they have asked me to write a Python class book with following features. So I will write a Python class book. Inside the book class, there will be instance variable title, author, and price, and a constructor with parameters. It will set the value of the instance variables. So in the inside the constructor, def init, there will be parameters like title, author, and price. So title, author, and price. So I have already missed self here, so you can't do that. Inside the init constructor, you will set all the instance variable. Okay, so self dot title will equal to equal to title, self dot author will equal to author, self dot price will equal to price. So constructor is already done. Then instance method. What would be the instance method? Set title, set author, set price, and str method. So uh, there will be four methods: div set title, then div set author, then div set price. So they have already mentioned the parameters. So for the first method, there will be self and title. In the second, there will be self and author name. So they have already mentioned the functionalities of this method used to set the title of book, author of book, price of book, and this method print out books details on the screen. So this will actually display all the information, and this method will print. It will set the value. I mean, change the value, right? So in the set title, there will be self dot title equal title. So in case of set author, you can just write self dot author equal author, self dot price, and self dot author. So this is how I have already done with writing the whole class. After that, they have said create an object of book and call all the methods, print the object directly, and see what happens. So first I need to create an object. So I'm just creating an object b1 equal book, and inside the constructor they have asked for title, author, and price. So title can be Nondito Naruke. After that, I can just write the author name. So author name will be Humayun Ahmed, right? And in the price section, I don't know the exact price, so I'm just writing 300. So I have already created the object b1. After that, I can call all the methods. Just like if I want to call set title, I need to give a new title, right? So b1 dot set title will be just like and inside this str cell, instead of calling this method, I'm trying to print b1 object. They have asked me to print the object name, right? So I have printed b1. So let's see what happens. See, this is the output of your Jochona 450 Humayun Ahmed. That means it's showing me the first title and the price and the author name, right? But how it's happening? I have not called str method, right? Why it's happening? It's happening actually whenever you are writing print the object name, it actually shows the just like if you don't have this method, if I comment out this method, check what it happens. See, it's printing the address of your P1 object. So actually there is a method called str. This is like this one, str, that has the memory address of this object in the built-in class. So whenever you are writing this method here, it's actually customizing this str method with this one, and it's printing the value of this one, what I have returned here, not the built-in returned string. So in the built-in returned string, they return us the memory address of the object. But if I write here like this, if I customize this one, it will show my customized one, not the previous one. So if you are trying to print p1 object, first it will check whether your class have this str method or not. If it doesn't have that, it will go for the parent class, just like there will be a parent built-in class, and search for the str method and print this type of string. And if it find the str method here, it will just directly go to this method and print whatever I have returned here. Okay, so I hope you have understood. And to check whether the set methods are working or not, you can just print after, before changing this title and price, print B1 first, and then change the title, price, and also the author name, and then print B1 again, so that you can check whether it's actually changing or not. See, first B1 is showing me Nandita Naroke 300 and Humayun Ahmed, and for second B1 is showing me Jyotsna 450. That means this set title and set price are working. So congratulations, you have learned how to create, how to design your own classes, own object, just like say checking the requirement. This is how actually you will do in your developing life. They will show you this type of scenario, and you have to understand what you need to write in your script or in your IDE. So So next lecture, you will learn about method and constructor overloading, also some reference sharing, value sharing that I have already mentioned in this video. So thank you for your patience and all the best for the next lectures. Happy learning.